Hello and welcome to our 2022 Pulp, Paper and Fiber industry event. My name is Carsten Henke and I'm heading the recording unit in Fibre. I will be your host and moderator for the next 3.5 hours today. A lot of people ask me, Carsten, why are we not meeting face to face when traveling is now allowed again in most parts of the world? And you know, we have used to have around 60 to 80 customers joining in our face-to-face events in the last years. And due to obvious reasons, last year we had to do a live event. But then 300 industry experts joined around the world. And therefore we said, okay, the future will be anyway hybrid. You know, it's somehow a mixture. Today you are not here joining me in Helsinki, but we have a new platform, 2.5D, and we hope that you will like it. So with this setup and platform, we can connect in this moment from all over the world, no matter if you're starting the business day along with your event, or if some of you the day is already turning into an evening. But wherever you are, we are glad to have you with us. Let's have a look at the agenda of today quickly. So first, some introductory words from my side. I will give you a little bit insights from the industry from my point of view. Then we will have an interesting panel discussion with top-notch experts from our industry. Then an inspiring keynote from Formula One. Why Formula One, I will tell you later on a little bit. And afterwards, all the people will join. We have some questions, answers, and a world premiere and official launch as a surprise for you. At 2:30 CET, and we're talking always about CET times here, you have to go upstairs. You know, when we look at this picture here, there's a networking and booth event location. And while you are here in this picture here, I want to tell you also a little bit about this lobby in general, or this platform in general. On the lower right side, you see a chat lounge. And this chat lounge, if you go there once, you need to go there once, otherwise you will not get notification when people want to chat with you. You have the possibility to chat with all other people in groups, one-to-one, but please go there once so that the chat is opened. On the upper right side, you see also such a bell sign, so please activate this so you are able to get notifications. On the left side, you see an information desk. And this desk you can contact in case of problems. Questions about the event will be answered there, but also technical questions. So if you have technical issues about the platform, please go there as well. On the upper left side, you have a calendar icon where you always see the agenda where you can inform yourself. And if you want to contribute to the event and ask questions also to our speakers here, please go to the right side, press this Ask a Question box, and you can enter their questions. If you're in full screen mode, please press the Escape button, then you can use this. At the end of the day, after the networking breakout sessions, I said you need to go upstairs here. At 2:35, we will have a really interesting talk with a person I think I do not need to introduce, Mika Häkkinen. I had the chance to talk with him, really a nice guy, so please join there. Afterwards, the networking sessions will continue until around 4:30 CET. And if you have still questions and want to join booth, we are there for you for another hour until 5:30, so the platform will be open until 5:30. At the end of the day, I would like to ask you also about some feedback. There will be a link available later on also in the chat launch, but also as a barcode, so prepare your mobile phones. We will give you the link first time after our talk with Mika Häkkinen. Fibre. A lot of people online know Fibre for sure, but some signed up, which most likely have never heard about Fibre. Therefore, a short introduction about Fibre and my unit. Fibre is a global company. We are serving customers in 90 countries in the world, and 24,000 people are working in different software areas. Software and consulting is our specialty. And one of the units is specialized on pulp, paper, and fiber industry. And that's the unit where I'm heading. And our product scope used to be, or the roots are in pulp, paper, and fiber, pulp, paper, and board, sorry. And we developed this in the last years towards non-woven, tissue, packaging, converting, tissue converting. So the whole supply chain between wood supply and the brand owner, we are serving with our product called TIPS. And we have also specialists in the team who can have knowledge in ERP systems like SAP. So full scope service in the industry. And we have installations in around more than 300 mills around the world. So really something we consider ourselves as market leader in that area. The role of TIPS, for those who do not know it, is in the middle, in the heart of the companies in our industries. So we are between those automation players like the Valmets and Voigts of this world, then the HR and finance systems, the SAP, the Microsoft of this world. So we are in the middle, covering the whole order to invoice, the order entry, planning, production execution, the whole logistics and invoicing. This is our specialty, and we can help you here also with the consulting. We can help you if you want to run it on-premise or cloud, but we are in the middle. And this TIPS product is a portfolio. You know, having a closer look at this portfolio, you see that there's a lot of separated modules, but at the end, well integrated. And this is under this TIPS umbrella. It starts really from the sales and operations planning down to the machine connections. We have energy management connected by ecosystem partners, the whole order entry, like I said, production planning, production quality process. So a huge portfolio, a one-stop shop for you with everything related to our industry. Now let's jump into the topic of the day, winning with secure data. What does it mean? You know, digitalization is a buzzword known to all of you. I think digitalization makes everything faster. Think about our industry. Think about the order intake, the order creation, the order confirmation. This used to be manual, but it became more and more digitalized. So also the orders are getting smaller, and I think you agree that the orders are more often changed in very short term. So by being data-driven, you get an immediate response, visible to everyone. And the communication is an extremely important topic, I think, in all of the mills. So in case you use less and less manual processes, then it's the better, because manual processes are creating silos within the companies. So the digitalization creates the demand to react faster. And when you react faster, you have less and less time to think about the consequences. So how to solve this? It's to become data-driven. You know, you cannot do it by manual process, you need to become data-driven, and at the end, the whole supply chain will be automated. And you are simply monitoring. This is then the real benefit. So when really decision-making is embedded into your core business processes and the holistic business process optimization. But like always, and like in Formula One, our topic of the day, there are some curbs and curves. And they're mainly about security. You know, data is all over the world can be attacked by security, but also proof of concepts, you know, scalability challenges. What works for one machine doesn't work for another machine. And this requires to embed the functionality into the core systems. So what are the challenges doing this? Believe it or not, but 50% or even more of the Industry 4.0 approaches are failing. Different reasons for that: lack of resources, high cost of scaling, business cases behind. But only really 30% of the companies are capturing the value by scale. So this POC, this proof of concept trash, is tremendous. Then also the business drivers are missing. You know, a lot of things are pushed by technology, but it should be the other way around. So start at the end. What's the business value? Technology should be there to enable you, this whole approach. And then also the question is, how can you scale? There are a lot of startups helping you here, but at the end, you know, what's the right partner for scaling? At the end, really you need to design everything based on your needs. What's the right partner? And choosing the right partner is really extremely important in those Industry 4.0 topics. So also when you think about, is it a local, most people say, let's go to the cloud, let's do immediately this cloud-based approach. Not always it's the right decision. You know, choose it carefully. For example, if you don't want to control your processes from the cloud, start with a local approach, on-prem, and then later on move it to the cloud. So tackling those Industry 4.0 challenges, ask yourself the questions, where to focus and how to scale. And then, is data utilized really in data-driven operations, embedded in the processes, and then it will bring the business benefit and the return on invest for you. And to give you an example out of our industry, I think everybody knows it, how to create value out of embedded intelligence. Think about a produced jumbo reel with a defect. I think all of you know it. Nobody has quality problems, I know, but some have. And think about this jumbo reel with a defect. A lot of or the process currently is still in some companies or was in some companies, that you after, let's say 1 hour after the reel was produced, you make a quality check, you go to laboratory, in the laboratory you find out that bad quality. So you classify the jumbo reel as bad quality, waste, and you reject the full jumbo reel. How can you avoid this? How can you make this better? Utilizing data. By implementing soft sensors, you get a lot of data and you can forecast the laboratory values. And this, of course, adds value because then you can reject only the bad meters of a complete reel. So this helps you to reduce already the waste. But there's a next step. If you embed intelligence, you can do it also manually. You make a quality-based retrim. But if you embed this in your processes, automatically quality-based retrim, then additional patterns are created to remove the bad spots. So only the defect areas are rejected then. So again, you saved paper, which you do not have to throw away. And the best thing, and this is this improved business process, if you do this continuously. If you continuously optimize your production backlog, then at the end, not people are steering the order fulfillment, but the paper machine, the board machine, whatever machine is driving the order fulfillment. And this then minimizes the waste because you're continuously creating new patterns also for the future backlog, so the whole production backlog. And by this, you have then really the best possible setup. And think about money-wise. At the end, we are talking about money. You have real value. For example, if you save around 0.25%, I would say it's easily 1 million euro per year. And this is how you create the value. So this is what you can do using the data in the right way. But how to do this? Data is coming from so many sources nowadays. Think about ERP systems, MES solutions, from the automation. And in the future will be much more, devices. Think about cameras, photos. A lot of devices are going there. The data is ending up, or not ending up, but they're created in data platforms. You have analytics. So the systems need to talk to each other while the data is going back and forward. And the challenge is to expose the data in the right way so that you have really proper data management. And data, you all know it, data, there's a lot of data around. It's created, modified, combined. But think about what is data. Looking at those things here, 19. What is 19 for a shop floor PLC? What is this 12-digit number for an MES solution? Is it the unit ID? Is it the package ID? Is this 19 from shop floor included as a base weight for this unit? Then also in the ERP side, what is tier delivery? Is it a customer? Is it a provider? Is the unit planned to be delivered to tier delivery with this base weight or not? A lot of questions. And at the end, it's about artificial intelligence who will define and optimize how the systems will talk to each other. You have to use some standards for that. And also each party must understand that the data in the correct way. And that's the only way that you really build new business opportunities like optimizers or business capabilities. So it's really so important to understand how to make the data purposeful. And let's have a look at how this is done. It's a little bit technical at the beginning, but this picture workspace can be a system, can be a user role, whatever allowed to use data. And on the other side, green is then the services which are then in charge how all of this is glued together. And there's a lot of technology used, so the right data with the right service enables you that with the right technology, new possibilities. Technology is an enabler for business. And the measures here, for example, they allow harmonization and standardization. You have a lot of user experience possibilities nowadays. So for example, when we look about the workspace of a user, in this case, for example, the machine operator, what is needed for the machine operator? The machine operator doesn't need to have all the data available, but certain data that helps the machine operator to do the job better. And the machine operator should not look for him or herself about the right data. This should come automatically. Really, this is then user experience. And all this data should be really then in a secured manner available for the user. So whatever you do, 4 things. You need to create a visibility with the right control, keeping the flexibility without compromising in security. And thinking about security, in the last 2 years, I think a lot of you worked from home, so not on a corporate network. And therefore, 2021 was one of the most active years for cyber attacks. You can see here also what happened. A 40% increase in cyber attacks globally. 1,000 organizations were impacted by ransomware. Every 39 seconds, a phishing attempt. This is crazy. Websites are hacked, and last year there's a Log4j. A lot of things happened. And believe it or not, manufacturing industry is the industry which is most impacted area of cyber attacks. It raised from 17% in 2020 to 23% in 2021. So every fourth company you is or was attacked in last year. So it's really an attractive industry. And think about the damage. Toyota has not produced 10,000 cars because of that. SolarWinds. There was a problem or a vulnerability included 2019. It popped up 2021 then during the rollouts. 2 years later, the virus spread it. Westrock, one of the customers being online here today, they lost minimum 85,000 tons of paper by this attack. And how to protect now? We can invest in security, and $150 billion were spent last year on security. And compared to last year, it was 12.4% more. But the amount you spend on cybersecurity does not really reflect the level of protection what you have. It's out of your control to align the spendings to address ransomware. You need to align the investments to the controls that address the threats. For example, an organization cannot control whether it suffers a ransomware attack, but it can align investments by critical controls, backup and restore, business continuity, secure tooling, key paths and vendor access and such things, and very important employee trainings. Employees are the most critical factor so that they open some mails and viruses can spread. And also we ourselves invested last year 6,500 hours of development to improve the security functionality in our TIP system. Features, functionality, they are available in the latest release. What I'm wondering a bit, so far only 10% of the mills are using our software or ordered the upgrade. So please ask yourself the question, are you really protected? And you invested into that, and if you remember last year, that's a slide I showed last year during the event. In our industry we showed how we are intending to improve our portfolio. We want to renew, we want to transition some of our old modules, or let's say classic modules, to web applications. And we are talking here precisely, for example, about mill warehousing, the order to cash, the plan and trim area. And we kept our promises. And we have achieved major milestones. So, for example, this new holistic planning for packaging. This is made for packaging, it's live in packaging, but it adds value to all the others as well. So this holistic planning is also available for all the other users and customers. Then we renewed our order handling. Also here, we made it first in packaging, and then, but now it's available for all the other users as well. We created a new smart web warehouse. So this means totally independent of the ERP provider. It's really standalone, called SW2, so a smart web warehouse, and the security. And this path we will still continue. We have a roadmap. We are continuing to do the roadmap. We renew our complete planning solution. We put in a totally different technology, but also content-wise, totally renewed. Our production and quality modules, which are so far available for tissue and non-woven customers, we will introduce also for the paper and board area. We are working on a cloud-based AI solution for trim. And of course, we will go also the way towards the cloud and will have a full scope tips as a service delivery. So a lot of things, a lot of highlights. And if you want to know more, then please visit our booth in about 1 hour. And then you can see the latest details, you can see demos, you can talk with our experts, ask them questions, and inform yourself about the things. But before doing this, so check out the booths. Before doing this in 1 hour, now we have still a lot of highlights to go. And the first one is our CXO roundtable. And now I'm honored to introduce our 3 panelists. So let's start in the upper left corner. Josh Iyer, President and CEO from Hollingworth and Wolf. Welcome, Josh. I think
Thank you. Good afternoon.
you're located in the States, in the East Coast, so it's 7 o'clock your time, or what is it?
That's right. Not quite morning yet here as far as sunshine goes, but we're getting there.
Thanks for joining, Josh. Then, as a second, we have Michele Bianchi, CEO from Marina di Medici. Welcome, Michele.
Nice to meet you.
Where are
Hi,
you
good
located
morning
at the
to
moment?
everybody.
In one of your mills? Or
I'm in Italy. Yeah, one of the mills.
One of the mills.
In the northeast of Italy, yes.
Okay. And last but not least, not Marina, who was in our advertising, so you changed a little bit the face, Marina. No, Marina from Susanna, Managing Director of Americas, couldn't make it today, but Paolo Borges is jumping in. He is Managing Director for the EMEA region. Welcome to all three of you, and really nice that you joined. Perhaps let's start with Paolo. Paolo, I showed about digitalization, data-driven automowers and mills. So where do you see your own company here? Do you have already concrete examples how you're winning with data, or secure data, but in general data? Do you see this already ongoing in your company?
Yeah, thank you, Karsten. Thank you for the opportunity. And well, seeing your presentation, I can clearly see how much opportunities we have to improve. But we've been in Suzano, we've been taking this opportunities of digitalization we've been ramping up what we were doing. So we started as an effort from an area in 2019. And today, in a few places, we have already people on data and digitalization inside the area. So I think that was a big leap. I'm happy to give a few examples. We as an integrated company from forestry to the end product, we've developed a process in our forestry, starting from forestry. We developed a process that helps us using data to find the best clones to plant in our regions. It's a big challenge for us. It was a problem we had before because we need to find the best trees and the seedlings that will thrive, depending on the climate and on everything that goes. And we were able to build a system that predicts the climate and works with the data of the type of seedlings we have so that we can be most successful. And this is the core of our competitiveness. So this is one example. Another one, a bit more on the business side and on the end product. We operate in Brazil as paper division. We operate like a merchant, and we implemented an AI system that improves the sales effectiveness of our team. So it basically makes the sales call based on data from the customer behavior, all the small businesses we work with, and it has really increased dramatically and reduce the amount of people we have and also change the profile of the people and what they do. Instead of pushing buttons, they really work on the intelligence, on the most, let's say, they put their brains on what adds value. So this was a big leap for us. And we've been working on other things related to our pulp business, on also how do we extract intelligence from all the data points we have. And it's really growing on the business. I think we have a lot of opportunities, so we can never say we've exhausted everything there.
Thanks a lot, Paolo. Really interesting topic. So IT in general, Josh, how you see the role of IT and data, and also regarding employee satisfaction? You know, I think to attract new people in our industry is most likely also a challenge, which is the industry perceived a little bit old-fashioned. So is the IT also a driver here from your point of view?
Oh, I think absolutely, Carson. It's really an excellent question. We're spending a lot of time thinking about how we attract and, of course, retain our key employees, especially in very difficult environments. I think the function of IT has essentially changed in the past decade. IT used to be in the background. It was a table stakes or a baseline function that if it was going well, people didn't really know it existed. And I would go so far as to say that IT has now become part of the value experience for an employee. It's part of the value proposition of attracting and holding on to critical employees. I see it in my own children who are late teenagers now in college and asking questions. If you can't supply them very robust data, if you can't get them access to what's going on, on a day-to-day basis, you can't really get the best talent in any market space, and talent's hard to come by now. So I see that also even in our older employees who have maybe been used to working in an environment where they had to dig for their own data. They're not as satisfied with that option any longer. They expect that we're giving them the data. They want to be doing less manual work. They want to be thinking more and implementing. So I think this need for data, the access to accurate, timely data, is something that is really essential to holding on to a workforce, driving and essentially getting growth and meeting your strategic growth plans.
Yeah, I see it the same way. I see this also actually in our industry as well. You need to provide good tools, absolutely, also for you. Michele, do you have the same opinion? Also, challenge for you, for, talent market?
Yeah, I think it's very valid points have been touched already, and especially in the new generations. So if we compare, the environment we are living, although we passed from many manual way of working in the past, even touching for the quality, physically speaking, to online measurements, I think we still have a great challenge to tackle, and IT and data-driven solutions can really help to attract talents. We, of course, we are running manufacturing facilities 24 hours, 24/7, and it's tough to have people that come and do the job. So we need to transform that. We need to take the chance, even the challenge that we have now experienced after the COVID pandemic, where more working from home and more remotely working is taking place in different positions. I think we have a great chance to even explore that into the manufacturing, which is a bit more challenging because you need to stay present in the operations. But via the data, we can develop remote controls that can give more flexibility and guide also interventions where people can exchange and not necessarily always present. So I would envisage a future where the data can help really to develop an environment where more talents and more young generation are attracted by our business that is still sometimes heavy, so to say. So I think there is a great opportunity to still work around that.
But most likely you have also other things on top of your agenda at the moment, or is it not only talents? I think you have also other challenges. So what's on top of your agenda? Michele, perhaps you proceed.
Yes. It's we have, of course, the challenge of inflation, for example. We are all living in a difficult situation after the pandemic. There is energy, in particular for energy-intensive business as we are. We have to cope with the new opportunities to, first of all, improve the efficiency and reduce the cost, and then ultimately also adapt the value chain. But this is quite of a challenge. So on the other side, we need to push for innovation, invest even more, and reduce the complexity that we have. So for me, while some of the automation or some of the operations have been automated, we need to have the ability to connect all the value chain from production down to serving customers. Nowadays, where the overall supply chain is upside down, also due to the pandemic and the war, we have to make sure that we connect even closer all the dots, and we turn everything into more preventive, predictive, and work around minimization of waste, maximization of the satisfaction. So this is the new steps that, in a, like you mentioned in the introduction, products that are wanted in a just-in-time manner, personalized, that needs to be developed, taking care of the entire supply chain of the industry we represent.
Yeah. You mentioned it. Energy is a big driver, inflation in general. George, how you see this? Is the price then just given to the end customer, and do you see other drivers? Can you track really what are the drivers behind those prices and inflation?
Well, being able to see those drivers clearly, of course, is critical. As I think the previous answer was excellent. Of course, inflation is one of the biggest issues that we're dealing with, as so many others are. But if you can't really see at a very minute level, at a very detailed level, where you're experiencing the inflation, you of course can't control or abate that. It's our duty to as a good supplier to try to take care of as much of that inflation as we possibly can, and we're working on that every day, and we're of course changing how we look at and deploy our supply chain teams, utilizing that data. I think along the same lines, all of us are really dealing with this inflation, this assurity of supply. Sometimes, no matter how much you will pay for a product, you just simply can't get it, and that wreaks havoc all along the supply chain and internally for your manufacturing. It adds a significant amount of costs just from opportunity loss on top of your already high base cost. So we've been using the data along the scheduling and around the scheduling area to really help us as well. We have to be extremely flexible on when goods are coming in, when we actually can get them. And we need to be very forward thinking and open with our customers about when we can actually schedule and get them materials. So I think along with inflation, along with energy cost increases, there's this whole idea of just getting your raw materials and scheduling them very well and being very transparent with the data. This whole ecosystem is very important.
Yeah. And on top, I think there's a challenge with sustainability. So I think it's a hot topic for all of you. So are you already collecting data, and can you also share some of the sustainability actions, what you have done? So Paolo, perhaps you?
Yeah, that's definitely a big topic and on top of my agenda and from a lot of people. We've been working a lot in Brazil with our bio. We have a biodiversity goal and data. It's impressive how the digitalization and data collecting on that supports. We understand that biodiversity is one of the main challenges now, and we've been collecting data about like the wildlife and all of the indicators there, and it's really scaling up and making our actions much more effective. Also, obviously, in the industry side, being able to measure our water consumption and other parts that are directly related to our sustainability goals support. And also on the people side, we have efforts on diversity and inclusion and people analytics, using data and understanding how we're faring on that is also another part where the digitalization is supporting. So huge opportunities there as well.
Michele, Josh, what about you? Can you share some actions you started and if you build on data for sustainability here?
Absolutely. We're a little bit different company than the other two
absolutely.
panelists. We're private. We're primarily family owned, and maybe a little bit smaller on the revenue side. But for us, sustainability is extremely important. We've been here and continuously operating for 294 years. We have every intention of being here another couple of hundred years. And without a robust sustainability agenda, we simply won't be able to meet that goal. We primarily look at sustainability. We're going to have our first sustainability report publicly published in May, so please be on the lookout for that. But we break sustainability out along three lines: people, planet, and performance. And we have key measurable metrics for each of those areas. So having access to the data around that's extremely important. And it's pretty varied. For people, we measure engagement. We measure organizational capability. How do we break out across gender lines, ethnicity, of course. For planet, we're looking at energy reduction. We're looking at water usage reduction, CO2 emissions. And then performance, we have our usual profitability type of a metrics. If we're not profitable, we can't be sustainable and be here in the long term. So it's a very varied amount of metrics. We're trying to be very specific, and having access to that data, of course, is very important.
Michele, something to add from your side?
Yeah, I share fully what has been said. We identified a number of strategic sustainability metrics already 3-4 years ago, running through a stakeholders evaluation. Clearly today, like digitalization is sustainability, one of the hot topics, even the finance, the debt raising. We have just financed the transaction from public to private throughout a linked sustainability bond. And today the finance is looking very much into the sustainability KPIs. But we need to be careful because we need to avoid that numbers are not real, are not true. So the data reliabilities and the validation of the numbers that we look at is really, really important. When it comes to the business we represent, is a circular economy. So we recycle the material that otherwise would be landfilled or destroyed. So our responsibility into this circularity is very important. That's why we have chosen KPIs like avoiding to send material into landfill. Of course, is the water usage business and water consumption is very important, as well as being energy intensive business. CO2 emissions are also very, very crucial. That means that also in the investment and in the CapEx plan, it's important that we align the strategy on sustainability with new technology, with the opportunity to reduce, reuse, and improve the footprint. So absolutely is an item very top on our agenda, and it's a continuous process in the mindset and the culture of the company, but also in the way we allocate the capital.
Okay, good. You know, we are running the big digitalization programs with both of you, and also Michele and Josh. But I think in general, data is something where is our heart. I have a lot of mathematicians or engineers here that can help you. But 3 minutes left, perhaps short answer. What do you expect from us as T2AV, and a lot of partners from us are also online ecosystem partners. So short answer, what do you expect from us and our partners in general? Josh, perhaps you start.
Sure. Well, of course, H&V is a long-standing filtration media manufacturer. Our go-to-market strategy is to constantly grow through innovation. And that for us has primarily been product innovation. So we consider ourselves filtration experts. What we aren't is MES experts. We aren't data integration experts. And so we really count on you, Karsten, and your colleagues and your network to help us understand how do we best meet our growth strategy and our data needs. For you to be able to sit with our teams, as you have been doing for 9 years, create roadmaps that are specific to our goals, and to show us the best-in-class options is really what helps us. Of course, we have an IT team. It's maybe a little on the smaller side, and we'd love to have them deployed, helping us in different areas. So also having your sometimes virtual hands-on help is also an area where we really find value and great support.
Okay, thanks. We try to do our best. Paolo, we just established our relationship. So what would you expect from us? Just very short answer, please.
Yeah, I like Josh's answer. I think it's really showing us and teaching us how to take the best value. The hands-on comment is important, and you understand our business. You understand what we do. Now we need to learn from you how to use the automation to really bring the benefits it can bring to the business.
Okay. Michele, final words from you?
Couple of words from my side. Simplicity within the complexity. I mean, it's a complex world, the digital and the tools, and you need to help us to make it simple and to, approachable and easy solutions. So to connect the value chain we represent in the industry. So that would be my goal.
Okay, we try to do our very best. Foreign experts around the world hopefully have heard this. Otherwise, I will tell it to them and show it to them. So thanks a lot for the moment. I could talk for hours with you now, but unfortunately we have some other topics to cover. But we will see ourselves later in the Q&A after our keynote by Markale. So thanks a lot for now, and see you later.
See you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. So now we go to our keynote. And I said it's a person from Formula One. And the question, a lot of people ask me, Carsten, what has Formula One to do with pulp, paper, and fiber business? And you know, we were always, also in the last years, looking for inspirational person, totally out of another industry, to get an outside-in view. And this outside-in view, you will hear in a minute what Formula One has done in the last years, what has changed here. And I think this can be really inspiring for our industry. You know, they did tremendous changes. It's really amazing. And I think our industry can also do much better when it comes to data, and also to see, okay, what can be achieved with data at the end. So let's not wait any longer and welcome the Formula One executive. And he was part of the top management of such famous Formula One teams like Jordan, Cosworth, and Red Bull. So welcome, Mark Gallagher. Please start with your presentation, and then later on we will gather again in the Q&A.
The world champions, like Michael Schumacher, like Lewis Hamilton, 7 times world champion, they actually go season after season after season without suffering any significant mechanical failure because of the quality of outcomes and quality of engineering driven by our connected environment and our data-driven environment. And I wanted to just give you a kind of an example of a kind of an indication of how we use real-time data and remote performance management within the Formula One environment, because our product on the racetrack, the Formula One car, is being interrogated real time. We have 350 sensors on the car, monitoring every aspect of its performance and every aspect of the performance of the driver. So we have all of the inputs real time being communicated to our leadership team at the racetrack and also to our data analysts who are trackside. So the team literally has the most extraordinary dashboard of exactly how our operations are performing, every aspect, and not just historic data, but also generating predictive analytics of what's happening and what's likely to happen in the future. So we have trend analysis, we have diagnostics, we have a really accurate picture of not just what's happening, but what's about to happen during a Formula One race. And then you get to what I think is a really interesting story, which is that for the last 15 years, the teams actually run strategy remotely. So remote working is not new to Formula One during the coronavirus pandemic. We've been using our fully connected environment for about the last 15 years to remotely manage our races. So again, if I could transport you from wherever you're sitting over to, for example, Red Bull Racing, I could take you into the mission control suite back in the factory, and there you would find 30 to 40 engineers, software engineers, and race strategists running the race remotely, making decisions based on real-time data, making decisions based on AI, which is running millions of potential scenarios for what the potential outcomes could be, so that we're not relying on human engineers trying to figure out what's going to happen. We have the information, and we have AI helping us to understand the optimal strategy to deploy in order to win the race. So there is a snapshot of the environment. How does it manifest itself? Well, it manifests itself in really very interesting ways these days. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of graphs that you have to focus on a little bit more. Because on a Sunday morning, when a Formula One driver and his team have a meeting, a pre-race strategy meeting, we actually present all of the analytics and the predictive analytics for the race. And we can very much determine what's going to happen. And we can then run our race strategy accordingly. So if you look at this first graph, this is a graph showing Lewis Hamilton versus his teammate, Valtteri Bottas, and their immediate rival, Sebastian Vettel. Now, first thing to tell you is that this data is publicly available, so I've been shared with it by Mercedes-Benz, and obviously it was from a few years ago when Sebastian Vettel was driving at Ferrari. But it's a really good example of how Mercedes is using predictive analytics, because on that graph, the green line is representing Lewis Hamilton's predicted race strategy. The yellow line is showing how his teammate, Valtteri Bottas, is going to drive the race. And the red line represents how Sebastian Vettel in the Ferrari is going to drive the race. Now, you might be wondering, how do Mercedes-Benz know what Sebastian Vettel's Ferrari is likely to do during the race? Well, the answer is we not only collect data from our own car, but we also gather publicly available data from our competitors. So things like their lap times, their performance during practice and qualifying. We listen to the audio signal of our competitors' cars, and incredibly, reverse the signal of a competitor's car. You can actually work out which gears they're using. You can work out their performance, and we can build up an incredibly accurate picture of what our competitors are doing. So this graph basically tells a very important story. It tells Lewis Hamilton that there is a certain performance that he has to achieve, make a single pit stop, and he will win the race. Meanwhile, his teammate Valtteri Bottas will shadow their immediate rival Sebastian Vettel. They will make 2 pit stops, and Sebastian and Valtteri will battle over second and third position. So there's the strategy going into the race, and Lewis Hamilton literally, on a lap-by-lap basis, has a plan for the race which he has to adhere to. Now, you might be wondering, what happens when a Formula One driver like Lewis Hamilton then says to his engineers, well, why don't I just drive the car as fast as possible? I just want to drive flat out from the first lap until the end of the race. Well, the answer is that we can run the analytics on that, and we can show him that if he drives the car absolutely flat out for the whole race, his tires will actually wear out about 4 or 5 laps from the end of the race. He'll be overtaken, and he will finish in third position. So the answer to Lewis is, do you want to do what you personally want to do, in which case you finish third, or do you want to follow the strategy that this group of talented engineers have developed using all of the data that's available, which means that you will win? And of course, he is very good at doing what he's told. And indeed, the chief technical officer at Mercedes said to me that one of the reasons Lewis Hamilton and the top champions are so capable and so competitive is that basically they're like a piece of software. You program them, you put them in the car, they go out and they deliver the result for you. So there is a little insight into just how that environment has really changed for all of our drivers, and also for the way our teams use data. And when people ask me, to explain the great champions, Senna, Schumacher, Hakkinen, and of course Lewis, it is their ability to deliver an incredibly well orchestrated plan, so they know how to deliver that strategy. And then on top of that, they can add their own creativity and innovation. And when you talk to Mika later on today, you can ask him a little bit about his creativity that he brought to his job of winning the World Championship twice.
Good, thanks. So now let's see how we can use all those insights and data in our industry. So let's welcome back to our Q&A session our panelists. I think you all 3 listened to what Mark said. For me, really interesting stories. I think if you like Formula One or not, I think no matter, this was really interesting insights. And you can see also really what data made with Formula One and what's possible. Digital twins all around, as it looks like. Danny Ricciardo in this car, most likely also digital twin. So now a question to our industry leaders. I think it's a great example how quick things can change. And so how far away do you see our industry from autonomous mill operations, but at least one step towards that what Formula One achieved? So, Michele, let's start with you.
Yeah, amazing, really interesting speech and intervention, inspiring a lot. So, well, it's there is, in one side, there is already a lot, if you want, in the paper industry, because the machines today are running 24/7 and continuously. So they link number of data. So it's impressive the way the industry developed during the years. But of course, the challenge as has to run 24/7 is on the predictive, the preventive. So avoid that accidents or stops happen. So and here we are measured on hourly, on seconds, not seconds, but anyhow, in minutes and hours, because the efficiency is very important. So I think into that respect, the use of data needs still to develop. There are interesting features, but there is an opportunity to even do better and predict and avoid these stoppages and plan for the stops that can really minimize the time that we spend. So I think in that respect, it's very important to work around this. And of course, like you mentioned, cost and competitiveness is a key factor, because here we are most of the case producing commodities and products that really counts to be efficient and cost effective, and therefore the combination of this is crucial to be driven by reliable data and predictability.
I think data and investments. I think if we would invest more into those data, I think we could gain a lot here. But this would require a drastic change, I think, in our industry and also our thinking. So how do you see this, Josh? Is this insight, is there a possibility for doing such a change?
Yeah, well, first, let me say I'm keenly aware that I'm sitting in Boston, Massachusetts, and Oxford, Brazil, and Italy have a little bit on us in terms of F1. But as as a pretty significant F1 fan myself, and I have to say we're gonna hear a McLaren person coming up. Huge respect. I'm a Haas guy. We have a long way to go. um, I think when I was listening to Mark, I really liked, he put in order safety, quality, and reliability. And this is exactly spot on to how we're thinking about how we go into the future. We're in essence paper makers at the end of the day for many hundreds of years. And in the old days, if you saw a paper maker with 8 fingers, you know what happened. And it was almost a badge of pride that someone had harmed themselves. And we absolutely demand that this not be allowed. We fire people now. We fire the manager, not the person who got hurt. And I think this is actually the right way to think about this, and using data to enable us to get to a level of quality, reliability, and safety is something that's just, it's absolutely essential. It gave me chills, Mark, to watch the video of Roshan coming out of that fire. I don't know how many times I've seen that, but to me, it's a great reminder of why we do what we do, and we do it safely. I think it's the investment, but to me, it's the mindset. It's that we are going to do whatever it takes to succeed and do it safely. And I think people have to understand that being data driven is really the only way to achieve what we're all trying to achieve together, whether it's sport or it's business.
Yeah. I totally share this feeling. Paolo, how do you see the future of the business, our industry, and what are you at Susano doing to continue to be a forerunner in your industry? And also, what kind of data is playing the role here?
Yeah, it's mind blowing to me to watch what Mark showed, and I see a mountain of opportunities there. I would say we are, as I already mentioned, we are in the early stages. Formula One is 50 years. We probably are 4 to 5. And I think I would say two points, Carsten. It's really investing on the systems, on the processes, as Josh put it. We have to achieve the unthinkable. We cannot tolerate safety issues. It's not, and technology will drive us to a point where it's really like no accidents, zero, no risks. I think that's investing and believing on the technology and on people as well. I think making, in a way, teaching and showing all the benefits to people and driving the mindset. It looks like a big cultural improvement and switch to really have people less focused on the operation itself, but also focused on analyzing the data and working with the technology for the best. And we're gonna achieve unthinkable improvements like Formula One did.
Mark, how is this in Formula One? You know, I'm not aware of this, but is there always competition, or do teams also join forces, you know, about special topics like sustainability? It's a big topic, you know, Formula One is challenged here. You mentioned it, that there's a lot of things ongoing. Are the teams joining forces, or are they doing it on their own?
So really interesting to hear Josh pick up on the point around safety, because there are a couple of areas where all the Formula One teams collaborate. And that is because we want the whole industry to operate to the same high standards. So we talk about avoiding islands of excellence and oceans of mediocrity. We don't want anyone to be mediocre at their outcomes in terms of safety. So on safety, all of the teams work together. We have a safety working group. I used to chair that organization, and we meet every month and we talk about what's been happening in our business, any near misses as well as any incidents. And the whole idea is we introduce technologies, training, and processes which keeps everyone at the same level of performance. We don't want one team to be very safe and another team to be less safe. We don't want some employees in the industry to be not protected compared to others. But now that same approach, Karsten, is exactly as you say in your question. That's also now being applied to environmental sustainability. So Formula One as an entire industry is setting a target to be net zero carbon by 2030. So that means we're now in a decade of decarbonisation. We'll abandon fossil fuels, we'll reduce the amount of freight and people that we take to events around the world. We're eliminating emissions, harmful emissions from all of our factory operations, which is a really key point. And in fact, some of the teams are going further, and they have the objective of being climate positive because I think ironically, for a sport which is supposedly full of petrol heads, traveling the world, seeing what's happening to the environment and the climate has had a really big impact on all of us. And we would love to play a part in helping to deliver some of the solutions that will have perhaps wider implications for society. And that's what's actually keeping so many of our commercial partners, you might call them sponsors, we call them commercial partners. But the reason why we have so many commercial partners in Formula One today is that increasingly we provide services to them into industry sectors. So actually we've become technology consultants for the energy sector, for the automotive industry, and for a number of other sectors we work in as well. So the collaboration we see as a really important thing, that we keep the racing and the competition on a Sunday, but Monday to Friday, we're looking after the health of our businesses, our employees, and our customers.
Okay. Michele, how do you see this in our industry? Monday to Friday, working together? Would our whole industry not gain much more in working closer together? So, or is this already happening in some segments? So, except price discussions, of course. So, how do you see this?
No, that's of course. I mean, there is a competition to be preserved and also, you know, to watch out. But indeed, I mean, in the end, there are themes and matters that are common. So we only win if we put the minds and the targets of an industry or a scope together. This is sustainability is one. There is a great example also in the paper industry. For example, lately there's been an alliance in Europe to bring together from end to end all the value chain key stakeholders and try to find solutions that improve the footprint, improve the solutions, the sustainability. So it's working out to recyclability, which is important to give new life, to design, for example, minimizing the packaging and the overweight and the over specs, and then also the collecting and sorting of the material to recycle to the ultimate target to achieve 90% of recycling rate. So this is an example that was not thinkable just a few years ago, and now is giving first results. And I think it's something that we can build and continue to develop in other parts of the businesses.
Paolo, or any connection with other industry partners or?
Definitely, I think I agree with Michele. Sustainability, we all live in the same planet, right? So I think that's having sustainability efforts and goals in a vacuum is not going to help. So working together on that, also safety, same thing. We have the same ambitions there. So definitely there are there are opportunities to work together, and we should work together on these topics.
Okay. Josh, any final words about you about this topic?
I think the other speakers covered this really well. Maybe just one other point. We do have an opportunity to come together as an industry through trade associations and talk about government regulations and voluntary compliance. And we speak about this as a company quite often. And this does sometimes come down to sharing data. For instance, we're in the clean air space. How do we define that? How do we come together as a community and define that? And I think that's a very specific example, but we can use that pretty broadly as experts. I think bringing our expertise to bear and being very data driven about it is very important.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you all for your time. Excellent discussion, excellent insights. As I said, I could continue for hours with you. Thanks a lot for your participation, and looking forward to meet you one or the other face-to-face very soon again. Good. We are nearly finished now with the first part and can go to the networking, but I told you that there is a surprise and we will have something special for you. And actually, I don't know 100% what will happen, but let's see.
Hi, Karsten and all.
Hello, Jan.
Do you remember what happened last year?
We launched something new with a drone.
Let's take a look, if you remember well.
Oh, what's that? Drone?
Wow, that was really something fantastic, and we really took all the dust away from the place we were having the event last year. And today we're gonna do something extraordinary again. And in order to get us started, to have this tips number one journey to continue here together, we introduce you new solutions today as a world premiere for the market. Let's get started and take a look at this video.
Hi everyone, are you looking for champion tips?
Thank you, Champion Mika. Indeed, yes, we are looking for champion tips. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our newest solution to the global market. Tips for Tissue. This is the official global launch for Tips for Tissue solution. We had a pleasure to start the journey together with Metsä Tissue already end of 2019 when we established a partnership program with them to digitalize Metsä Tissue's European-wide production and to build the most modern MES solution in the world. Today, we have in place 5 mills already using the system in 4 different countries. And the customer, Metsä Tissue, has been able to harmonize their operations and business processes with the capability to manage and lead the business with the data. And what it's all about, the new solution provides tangible business value with the tissue industry-specific ERP and MES solution capabilities. It's solving major pain points to improve efficiency and business profitability. It addresses many key points from the many areas like managing complex products, improving the OEE, traceability, chemical safety, and especially understanding cost and profitability. And beyond that, it's also focusing on full value chain there for production, quality management, transparency for the tissue paper making all the way to converting. It creates the needed operational backbone, digital foundation, ready integrated with SAP and automation, managing and leading your business with data. So welcome to learn more in our breakout session booth, where we'll have Arto Huuhilo and Timo Jäätvuori presenting us more about the solution. And that's not all. Dear all, we have one more champion for us. As we have the honor to have our double and world champion Mika Häkkinen with us today, we are extremely happy to introduce you our second new solution. Please give the stage for the most advanced and new cross-border solution called TIPS Operation Management System, OMS. It's combining OT and IT together with transparency and continuous improvement. It has capabilities to cover combined data and needed cross-border actions from many key areas, including MES arena, automation, maintenance, and machinery, for example. Today, we have great pleasure to have Metsä Group Development Manager Sami Kerminen together with Marko Jämseen sharing the solution insights. Metsä Group has implemented the solution not only for the tissue business, what we had here, but also for the board, pulp, timber and plywood, or wood business you like. The solution has fantastic ROI potential. As you can see from here, do not miss the great opportunity to hear for more. Karsten, do you know what this is?
A flag for Formula 1.
Yes! Can you perhaps do us for honors today that we launched now our journey to the global arena of our solutions. So world premieres and global launch.
Okay. So simply wave the flag.
Yes, please. Thank you, Karsten. That was a great job done. But I think it's important that as we have the two-time world championship Mika Häkkinen with us, we have two great solutions also here today launched. So can you do it once more, please?
Okay.
Yes. Thank you, Karsten. Great job. And let's keep winning with the secure data, as we say.
Good. So now the first part is ready, and now please go upstairs to the networking and breakout sessions. I will quickly introduce them to you first. So if you have a look at the slide, is the slide visible? Yeah. Good. So we will have 3 sessions. So we have 13 booths in total, and you can join 5 sessions. Every session is 15 minutes, and you have 5 minutes break to grab a coffee, go to the next one, and join the next one. So 60 minutes, 3 sessions you can join. Then we have your halftime show, most likely 5 minutes later as planned, so starting 4:40. And then you can join later on again another booth. We have a restriction of 30 participants per booth, so in case there would be already 30, then please choose another one and join 20 minutes later to the booth. At 3:40, please move to this live event again downstairs in the lobby hall, because we will not automatically move to the halftime show. Showing you the booths, you know, we have information booths, we have networking booths, we have new solution demos. And you see this brown, yellow, and green. So information and QA, you know, there is a presentation from one of our colleagues, 5 to 10 minutes, and then you discuss the other 5 to 10 minutes about AI analytics. Here our partners Yazoo and Mopsys will join as well. We discuss about tips in the cloud and service, so to see the status. Then with our partner iPlan, the sales and operations planning, from demand delivery, developers of digital futures, you will see our roadmap. You also in SAP, what are we doing with the cloud implementation? Consulting talents, our partner and SAP will join there as well. We have networking discussions in the middle, roundtable talks about cybersecurity, about sustainability, and about digitalization. Also here our partners, Synchron, Teddy Fisher, and Valmet and Turk Willand will be present. And then if you want to see hands-on solution demos, please go to the green area. It's about our artificial trim, our new product, the tips for packaging, the tips for tissue, the operations management system, what we just introduced. the both, and the tips reporting analytics. So this is how the booths are looking. You see in the front row, the brown one, in the middle, the discussion, and in the back, the demo area. So it will start in 3 minutes, I think. It's 2:40. So in 3 minutes, the first sessions will start, and then we meet again in 1 hour at 3:40 here. See you then. Welcome back to the live event. I hope you had valuable discussions, good networking, had some chats with your peers already. And now it's time to introduce our special guest star. You know, double Formula One world champion, known as the Flying Finn. I think no further introduction needed. Let's welcome remotely Mika Häkkinen.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. This is brilliant.
Mika, you know, our theme of today is winning with secure data. And Mark Gallagher told us a lot what has happened already in Formula One and how data is used nowadays. But, you know, you were a double world champion in 98, 99. What has changed from your point of view, where you see the biggest difference? And would you prefer to be a driver nowadays?
Well, I think I would have to lose a couple of kilos if I would like to be back in Formula One. And I should be a little bit younger also. But hey, yes, I did start at Formula One in 91, and that was the time when the Formula One started bringing the data, computers, the analyzing how the cars are handling, how the materials behaving, and of course, it was very important for the driver was able to compare your performance out in a racetrack for your teammate. So to see exactly where your teammate was braking, how can he was turning in the corner, how he was accelerating, how he was using gears. And all that information was very useful to make yourself to be a better racing driver. And for me, when I joined the Formula 191, it took me 7 years before I won my first Grand Prix. So in that period of time, it was a really, really big challenge. And I was a driver who was very much driving with the feeling, with the motion. And, you know, I'm very lucky. I have a good talent also for driving. So computers were a bit tricky sometimes. And I wasn't, I think I wasn't, when I started my career, I wasn't working so hard with the computer until later on. I really understood that how useful they are to able to make yourself be a better racing driver. And also the communicating with the data engineers, how they analyze in the car, how they can make you better car and better racing driver. And I had issues with the racing car when I was flat out, like in Monza in Italy, and brake into the corner. And I said, when I come into the brake in 380 kilometers per hour and I'm braking hard, I feel the car is going down a little bit too much on the front. And they just told me, I said, Mika, no, it's going up. It's not going down. I said, hey, I definitely feeling it's going up, going down. And when we check from the data, actually cars were going up. So all that was really important to learn to analyze that and use that to be your asset.
So it was a continuous learning to trust the data at the end. Because there was also a question online from Mark Gallagher's speech. How long has it taken to convince the drivers to listen to the engineers? You know, I think it's really a continuous job, or that you're listening to the engineers and to the people giving you all the
communication.
data.
Communication is the key point. The teamwork is the key point. And you know, we Finns, we don't normally talk so much. So it was quite a challenge. And also what I learned in Formula One, particularly with working with the computer people, with the people who are analyzing the data, these people are very smart and they're very interesting. But you need to have the right people and who you communicating with and what I actually did, I purposely didn't want to analyze my data too much myself. I wanted those people to do it, and it was a really, really interesting, and I learned so much. But without the data, without analyzing data, and doing a great teamwork, there's no way I ever could be a world champion in Formula One.
great to have you. Mika, it was really nice to talk to you. Really enjoyed the time. Very nice insights, very funny stories. Thanks a lot, and greetings from Finland to Finland.
Thank you having me so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good. Great guy, really very funny, and he has also a very good time preparing those interview. Good. Now we can go back to the networking booth, but I told you at the very beginning that we want to get also your feedback. So therefore, we can show you now a barcode, or we will show you a barcode on the screen, which you can scan. You see it here already. And also, if you cannot scan it at the moment, the link is in the chat lobby, so it will be posted there as well. We would be really happy to get your feedback. We will show it later on at the end as well. So now we have 2 more chances to visit the networking booths. The next one will start at 15:55, and then we will meet each other again a little bit later than originally planned. So 4:35 CET, we make the closing here. But please enjoy the time in the networking booth. Use the opportunity and chat with each other and network and with your peers to get the most out of this day. Good, thank you, and see you in 40 minutes then here again at 4:35. Hello and welcome back. Time flies. Unfortunately, the day is already over. I hope you had a great time. But before I let you go, I would like to quickly reflect on the day and also would like to remind you about our feedback survey. We have again here the barcode that you please scan it and give us the feedback. We have still 200 customers online, but only 9 replied so far. So please do us a favor. It takes only 1 minute to go through it. As said, you can also go to the chat lounge and click on the link. It will be posted there. And in general, use the opportunity after this short closing to go to the chat lounge, please. Use the opportunity to talk with others in the lobby area. Remember on the right side, you go there, talk with others, or go back to the booth. If you're interested in a special topic, use our experts, talk with them. But the chat lounge is the room to gather and discuss with other customers. So please go there. Let's reflect a little bit on the day. First of all, I really hope that those networking and breakout sessions brought you the insights, what you expected, and you really had a great time there. And if you want to follow up, just contact us. We are happy to help you. Then I think it was for all of you a highlight to meet Mika Häkkinen and listen to his Formula One insights. Really a great guy, funny person, and down to earth. I really like when such famous guys are so down to earth. Before you went first into the network sessions, we had the launch of the tissue solution and the OMS solution. So I hope that the tissue customers in the audience really do like our new solution, and all the others, don't be sad. You will get those screens, what it is designed for tissue customers also very soon. This is our philosophy that our product always is made for the whole industry, and we reuse it and take the advantage for all of you when we create new products. New product is a good hint. This OMS solution, this operation management system, this is giving a lot of return on invest. And I cannot believe that only Metze has a huge return on invest and all the others not. So I hope that you start latest tomorrow exploring this solution, that is the return on invest for you here. And also my people, our customer managers, customer service managers will contact you and give you more insights about this OMS solution. So looking forward of this new member of the TIPS product family. I got a lot of feedback that Mark Gallagher did provide great insights, great speech, and I think it's really great to have such a story out of Formula One. It's a quantum leap what Formula One did, and I'm sure our industry can do this as well. We just have to be brave. It's an investment, yes, but at the end you see what can happen if you really invest in digital twins and all those stuff and all the data. So I think this is really something what you will remember also in the future. At least I took a lot of learnings from this speech, and great guy as well. Great guys are also our three famous industry panelists. Unfortunately, as I said, Marina could not join, but Paolo substituted her. So from Susano, Paolo, Michele Bianchi, CEO from Rede de Medici, and Josh Iyer, the CEO and president of Hollingsworth and Wolff. I think excellent insights, really nice that they're sharing those things with us. And this was really something, I'm really happy to talk with them and doing business with all of them together. And perhaps you might also think a bit about what I tried to show you at the very beginning. You know, if you have not done it yet, please order your security upgrade. If not tomorrow, because most likely you have so much to think about tomorrow, please do it next week. But we did really a lot of investments there, and it adds a lot of benefits for you to secure a business. Think about every fourth customer in our industry is attacked nowadays. Good. As said, please use the opportunity now to talk with our experts after our talk, so until 5:30 CET. The platform is still open. Use the opportunity. You will not get the opportunity to talk with your peers in the industry and to contact them so easily like on this platform. But now it's time to say goodbye. Let's keep in touch. See you hopefully latest next year. Most likely face-to-face or hybrid. You know, the solution provides the possibility to meet face-to-face, but also hybrid. So thank you for your participation. Please don't forget to answer the feedback survey, and see you soon. Bye-bye.